Okay, Dave's World, what's going on today? I'm gonna talk to you a little about how I spoke with Tristan, my son, about my addiction, my criminal history, my past, how I was able to talk to him and give him a good understanding and hopefully set him in the right direction to make really good decisions in his life. In no way is this a how-to, a why-to, when-to, or, you know, any of those things. It's none of those things. This is simply just me telling y'all a story about, talking with my son and, how I did it, what I did. All right, first and foremost, my son was born while I was in prison. When I came home, he was 5 years old. That's tough, man. I missed all of the diapers. I missed all of that. All of that. And now in my head, I'm thinking, how to catch up. But that wasn't the case. That wasn't the best thing, Speed y'all up. I came home after doing that time and soon was, torn between my thoughts and everything that was going on in my life. I didn't know how to do it and I turned to the streets. It wasn't a good choice. And I ended up deeper in this time than I ever was before. They say that too. They say every time you leave and come back, it's worse, man. It's so much worse. And it is. This last time, after doing all that time, I came home and I became a heroin addict. Plus some, it wasn't pretty at all. But through all of that, my son, he didn't see me in any other way but, Superman. I was his dad. And he knew that and he loved me. But he didn't understand what was going on. He didn't know why his dad wasn't around. He didn't know why, he couldn't come over to my house. He didn't understand why his mom and dad weren't together. He didn't know any of that. He just knew the simple things that people had told him. Like his mother tried to tell him one time that I was in prison for stealing somebody's radio. That is partially true. But she made it out to seem like I stole somebody's clock radio. That's not true at all. And what is true didn't even matter. I told my son that if you start doing things to other people without concern to whether or not it will hurt them in any way, then you will have to pay for those things in the long run. And it was because we had a little issue. My son had stole something out of another one of his classmates' desk. He took some change, some coins, I think some pennies, but whatever it was, he stole it. And that was my end. That was my opportunity to talk to him. And I did. And we haven't had no issues since then. But this is the big thing. Talking with your kids about addiction. Anybody out there who deals with addiction knows that the last thing they want is for their children to deal with any of the things that they deal with. And so all I would do is ask questions. You never know where your child is at. I would have never known where Tristan was at mentally, mature wise. I would have never known his level of maturity if I wouldn't have just asked questions. And I did, and I got so much knowledge back. My son is so willing to talk if we let him. Sometimes, I can hear him maybe make up a story here or there, but he's doing it for entertainment. He likes to talk. He's just like I am. And I want to keep him rooted in reality so that he doesn't go off and do some crazy things as I did. I want him to use his imagination for good. I don't want him to get caught up in his feelings and in anything that's going on and not know to ask or to talk, because everybody's going through something. So I would always just ask him questions, and he would talk to me like, I don't know. I asked him one time, what do you think has been going on? Like, what do you think is going on? Why is your life different from someone else's life? And, as a kid, he would say things, well, I'm different because I live with my nana, and children definitely pick up on things faster than we do. I hope you know that. They just might not understand what they're picking up on. They'll just be like, oh, something's off here, or oh, wait a minute, and they don't know what to do. It's our job as parents to, be that information for them, to be that safe place they can come to and ask questions and talk to and learn from. What I did when I felt like my son was ready and I had the opportunity to kind of tell him, a little about drugs, and I did. I wanted to be completely honest in where I was, how I got there, and how hard it was for me to get back to where I'm at today. And my son tells me all the time, he's like, Dad, I love you, I'm proud of you, you got your house, that not only was a big step for me, but my son loves being able to come over to my house and just hang out with me. He called me a couch potato because when he comes over, me and him just like to lounge and watch movies. That's something we do. That's also another moment where, we're able to talk. Something that I really want to stress about this whole thing is we as parents can't be afraid to give too much information. At first I felt like, I can't tell my son about heroin. So I didn't. I broke it down for him. I said, all drugs are bad. Okay. Some are worse for you physically and mentally than others. Your dad had found himself addicted to those type of drugs. I was addicted to those types. And he asked me how I got away from it. And I told him straight up. I said, thinking about you helped me 100%. My son, he has me laughing all the time. When we talk, when we're kicking it, he's always got me, laughing. And he brings the kid out in me. We were in the room beatboxing and freestyling. But the words made no sense. We just make it up. We don't care. We just have fun. But if you don't create that bond, then the questions won't matter. They won't trust you. You won't be able to find out what they know. And that's when they turn to their friends for advice. That's bad. That's what I did. Or they look to the older generation, the older than them, the bigger kids, and they see them as, idols, or, they look up to them. They see what they're doing and they try to mimic or do it their own way. And it's scary as a parent. I can be dead ass honest with you. I do not like the idea of my son learning from the street, learning from the playground. I would rather him learn at home so he acts right at the playground instead of learning at the playground and acting wrong at home. That is a real thing. I need you to know. Something else I've learned dealing with my son, and I thank him for this, is context clues. He's going to make me a good parent, but context clues. Maybe he's talking. Maybe he's telling a story about his friends at school or whatever. And to you it sounds like bullshit. Guess what? It might be. But if you listen to it, you'll see what he's doing. You'll see that he's trying to ask or bring something to your attention without incriminating himself. I don't know any other way to say it than that, but that's what he does. And at first I'd be like, stop. I don't want to hear lies. If you're going to talk to me, be real. We're going to tell the truth. We're never going to lie to each other. But I've done that before. I've gone to my mom like, hey, so my friend said this, this, and this. When all actually, I wanted to know. It was me who wanted to know. So if I listen to my son, he'll tell me whether he knows it or not that he's telling me. And that's crazy, but that's real. That's as real as it can be. So for me, coming home from jail or prison and trying to be a dad, I tried and I failed miserably. I ended up back in drugs, heavier than ever before, and I hid from my family. I didn't want them, especially my son, to see me in that state. I was messed up, skin and bones, man. And it was a life or death situation when I finally made that choice to go get clean. I never thought in a million years that my life would be where it's at today. And I never thought that my relationship with my son would be as strong as it is either. But man, this is me witnessing to anybody that's watching this who is striving for greatness in their life and who is looking to gain back everything that they've ever lost, everything that drugs and criminal activity has ever taken from them. It's possible. It's a long haul, and it never stops, because at any moment you could slip up, and there's going to be people out there that love and care about you that in the back of their mind, they always thought that it could happen. So don't ever think that your recovery is done. It's never done. I tell people all the time I'm recovered because I feel like I'm sick. I was sick before. Now I'm not sick. I make better choices, right? Like I've connected here somehow. And I've made better choices. But the truth is, you're never really recovered. You always have those thoughts that non-addicts don't have. You're always gonna be, someone who has dealt in drug abuse if you're an addict. I guess what I'm trying to say is honesty is the key, man. My son knows my past, and the older he gets and the more mature he shows me that he is, the more details he will get of my past. He's watched a lot of these videos, and he comes to me and he asks. And, thank God for you two, man, because my interaction with y'all has created a freaking avenue for me and my child to speak. So, honesty, being open. If you can talk about your horrors and allow your kid to see, your dreams, they're, a reality, man, your kid, I really believe, will always be open and honest back with you. And I'm only speaking from my experiences. Like I said, there is no child or no situation that is the same as another one. So, don't take this as this is how you have to do it. I'm not telling anybody what to do or how to do it. All I'm trying to say is the honesty from me has created a stronger bond between me and my son. I think that if he were to come across somebody who offered him drugs, he'd probably tell him about me. He'd probably tell him about prison. He might save their life. I don't know, man. I really have a lot of faith in my son. My son has become, a little man. He is really, really impressing me every day. He does what he's told. Sometimes he can be a little jerk, and he knows that. But my little jerk. And he's learning. He's a kid. He's a boy. That's what boys do. So to sum up all my mumble jumble, ask questions and listen. That's what I did. And when I saw an opening, an opportunity to talk to my son about myself and my history and my situation, I did so in hopes that it would enlighten him and give him the tools he needs to just say no. So look, until next time, be a good example. Dave's World.